Hey YouTubers, I've made several attempts at this video and they keep coming out longer than I mean for them to be, so I'm going to try to just cut to the essentials here. If you've seen my other videos, you know I'm on a mission to find some new speakers that will do everything my old speakers did, plus take care of some shortcomings on these speakers. And I've been trying some different speakers in here, some loaned to me by friends, some given to me by friends. And I've tried two speakers that I bought from Crutchfield that didn't quite work out like I had hoped. The first speakers I got from Crutchfield were some Polk Audio R700s, which I'd read a lot of good things about. In short, I found that they lacked the upper frequency air and detail that I'm accustomed to from these speakers, and I felt like the mid-range on the Polk was a little recessed. I also felt that compared to what I've got, the Polk bass sounded a little bit muddy and a little bit boomy. And I tried them even 4.5 feet out from the front wall, and they still sounded that way to my ears. So for those of you that like the Polk R700, I'm glad you like them. They just weren't for me. Now, I had some electrostatic speakers in here before that were given to me by a friend that I eventually moved on because I didn't care for. But I thought, let me try a modern pair of electrostatics. So I ordered a pair of Martin Logan ESLs from Crutchfield. I brought them in, broke them in properly, spent weeks listening to them. There's lots to love about those speakers. Great mid-range, great high-frequency air and detail, non-fatiguing, especially with right music that's recorded well, they can be amazing. But they are very revealing, and a lot of rock and roll isn't recorded that well, and you really hear it on those electrostatics. Plus, I felt like the transition on the ESLs from the membrane to the 8-inch driver could be done a little bit better. And the thing that really made me want to part ways with them is they have a minuscule sweet spot, and electrostatics are known to be that way. I have two chairs in this listening room because I like to share the music with other people, and I'm able to achieve a pretty decent sweet spot across those two chairs with my current speakers, so I hate to give that up for the electrostatics. Now, I had about decided to cool my jets and wait a while and maybe circle back at a later date on getting some different speakers. But I got an email from Crutchfield that they had a sale going on the Golden Ear BRX speakers, which are a small stand mount speaker with a folded ribbon tweeter and dual passive radiators. And so seeing the sale price, I was very intrigued, and I looked at a lot of reviews, and they get excellent reviews. And since the last speakers I had in here, that same friend that gave me the electrostatics made me an offer I couldn't refuse on a pair of rail subwoofers that were only a month old. So now I've got two subwoofers in this room, so stand speakers would be fine. And so I placed an order on Crutchfield's website for the Golden Ear BRX. And I got an email confirming the order, followed by an email canceling the order, followed by an email from their advisors saying, you've tried a couple of speakers already, and we would really like to see you get some speakers you really enjoy. Call us and let's talk about this. So I called, and I spoke to a gentleman named Paul, and he read my reviews of the previous speakers I had bought from Crutchfield. And we talked about this speaker and how it originally came with a metal dome tweeter, which when I got it home from the shop that I bought it at, I decided it was a little much, and I swapped out for a silk dome tweeter. And so we talked a little bit, and he says, okay, it sounds like you want high frequency detail and air, but you're sensitive to sibilance. I said, yes. He said, you want good mid-range? And I said, yeah. And he said, you're looking for a wide sound field? I said, absolutely. And he said, okay. He said, I think you should really consider the Dali speakers, which stands for Danish Audiophile Loudspeaker Industries. Although their engineers joke that it stands for Don't angle loudspeakers inward. I'll get to that in a moment. So Paul says, I think you're really going to like the Dali line of speakers. And he says, since you've got some nice subwoofers, he said, I'm going to recommend the Dali Opticon 2 Mark II bookshelf speakers. Now, Dali makes 13 different models of bookshelf speakers, according to their website. And they make numerous floor standing speakers. About the upper third of their model line are built by hand in Denmark in matched pairs. The rest of the speakers are built in other countries. And Paul said the Opticon 2 is a Danish built loudspeaker. They come in matched pairs. He said, I think you're going to be impressed. So I ordered some Mk2 speaker stands, 26-inch for them, and everything came in, and I hooked it up, and the first time I hit play on the CD, these speakers blew my mind. I've heard lots of direct reflecting speaker designs. I've had 2 different electrostatic speakers in this room that emanate equal amounts of sound front and back, and so you've got sound bouncing off the walls. None of those create the wide, spacious soundstage that these little dollies do. I don't know how they do it. I hear both left and right channel equally from both chairs. And that's with the speakers pointing straight ahead into the room like they recommend. At one point, I was trying to find the optimal distance from the front wall, and I walked over to the speaker when music was playing, and I'm standing right here, 1 foot in front of the speaker, and I can still hear the left channel 8 feet away. I don't know how they do that. Now, I did have a lot of dampening material in the room to absorb the excessive brightness I was still experiencing with this speaker, and I've taken about half of that sound absorbing material off the walls so that these guys can really sing. And boy, do they sound good. I mean, I'm hearing detail and texture in music that I hadn't heard before. And I love the wide soundstage. And I spent several weeks with these, and these are the first speakers I've put in this room that I like better than my old speakers. But after spending several weeks with them, I wish they had the dynamics and the impact of these guys. And there's more to dynamics and impact than just having subwoofers. The mid-range needs to be as impactful as the bass is. And these are great speakers, but they're stand speakers and they can only do just so much. So after spending nearly a month with these speakers, with much trepidation, I called Crutchfield and I asked for Paul, and I said, Paul, I said, I'm not trying to abuse y'all's return policy here, but I don't think these are quite the speakers for me, but I do think they have a lot of great characteristics. And so I explained what I was disappointed in. He said, no problem. He said, send them back. He said, I'm going to recommend that you try the Dolly Oberon 9s. They use the exact same tweeter that's in the Opticon. This is I believe it's a 6.5-inch woofer in this bookshelf. The Oberon 9 comes with a 7-inch mid-range, very similar design, and a pair of 9-inch woofers. Now the Oberon 9 is 4 foot tall, so it's going to be about like this. The Oberon 9s are rated 35 to 26,000 hertz, 90.5 dB. And so they've got the frequency response and the efficiency of my old speakers, but the tweeters and hopefully the same sweet mid-range and wide sound field of the Dollies. So the Oberon 9s, I can't wait to get my hands on them. They should be here in a week or so. Should fill the gap right in between these two speakers, where these are punchy and dynamic and exciting to listen to, and these have a sound stage and a sweetness and a detail and a texture without sibilance. And so I'm really excited to see if this will fit right in the middle sonically and be my forever speakers. So, if you're looking to buy speakers, I cannot say enough good things about Crutchfield. They have been so phenomenal to work with, and their advisors really know their stuff. I never would have considered Dolly Speakers if Paul hadn't recommended them, and I'm glad that he did. If you're a bookshelf guy, Dali makes 13 different bookshelf speakers for you to choose from. If you're a floor standing guy, they make, I don't know how many models, but it's got to be at least 6 or 8. They make speakers from $300 to about 12 grand. And they are all supposed to have that Dali sound, which is a huge sound stage and detail without fatigue. And so if you're looking for where to buy your stuff, go to Crutchfield. If you're looking for what to buy, check out the Dalis. I am blown away by how good these things are, especially for their price. And I cannot wait to get my hands on their floor standers. So thank you for watching. I hope you found this useful. Please like and subscribe if you did.